Hello, welcome to my garden here in Denmark. It's the 12th of July and this garden is located in a Zone 7 equivalent here in Denmark. And yeah, as you can see, the garden is still very lush. And it's because we've had so much water this year, so much rain, and hence the plants have put on a lot of foliage. And let's just go over what's in flower in this garden at the moment. First and foremost, geranium roseanne. And I use that throughout the garden. And I use it throughout the garden because it's a flower that flowers from June all of the way until frost. And hence I use it as a backbone in this garden, so that there's always something in flower. And hence I use it throughout, and also you'll recognize that throughout this garden. It is a plant that I use quite a lot. Right. Also a worthy mention right now is Rose Roald Dahl. It's a David Austin rose and it is looking really good. Also, I believe that it will come through and punch its way up through this geranium. I use geraniums to hide the feet of the roses, and yeah, the feet of the roses can look a bit untidy in my opinion, or the legs of them, and hence I hide them using geraniums. I don't use geranium roseanne for that job because I used it for that in the past, but geranium roseanne will sort of swallow up everything and it's competing too much with the roses. So I don't use geranium roseanne for that. It can be a little bit of a thug because of its size, basically. I would say though, the bees really like it, and I think that it is a really fantastic flower. I also like the leaf of them. I believe the leaves are probably what is most in question for various people out there, if they will like the leaves of the geraniums. But I believe it is a very beautiful plant. Also good looking and still going strong, geranium and Thompson. That's the plant that you see right there. It also flowers for a really long duration. I'm not sure if it flowers right up until frost though, but it will keep on going for a really long time. Helenium, Moorheim Beauty. Yeah, that is a bee magnet. We don't have that many bees out yet, but when the bees get going, they really enjoy this one. And also the butterflies, I believe particularly the butterflies, I've not seen many of them this year, perhaps due to all of the wet. They've had a really tough time getting out to the various plants this year due to continuous amount of rain. Yeah, really nice weather this afternoon though. Really nice. Also, you'll notice I like daylilies. I have daylilies planted alongside my path here, and they are also looking great right here in July. They don't flower for that long. Each individual flower lasts only for a day. But as you can see, there are several buds ready to take that flower's place. I have them close to the edge because I remove the spent flowers. And hence I like having them close to the edge because, yeah, as you might have guessed, getting into the middle of a border that looks like that, yeah, that is a tough job. I do it every now and then if I can see some weeds in there, but other than that, I try not to go into these borders basically. And I believe there are probably quite a few weeds at the very bottom of these borders, but the idea is that the light is getting blocked out, and that hinders most of the seeds from germinating, and hence, yeah, there are probably some weeds in the very bottom of these borders, but not a lot. There are some weeds though that can sort of get through and punch their way up into the sun, and those I go in and take out every now and then. also in flower right now are the thalictrums have started flowering. And yeah, this one has not fallen over. I have a couple that have fallen due to we had quite a lot of wind passing through the garden a couple of days ago, and some of the thalictrums suffered. I believe most of the thalictrum that suffers had like only one stem going up though. And yeah, you can see they are supported with support right down there, one that rusts, but also this thalictrum. They sort of stick together. If they're multi-stemmed, they sort of stick to each other, right? You can see here that the entire plant moves as one. And hence I believe the multi-stem ones, those that have put on quite a lot of growth, are harder don't fall over that easily. But of course they are still supported, otherwise they would. Let's see if that theory holds up over the coming years, right? Up here in the corner, I have a small pond in there. In front of that pond, Allium millennium. Allium millennium is a bit of a special allium. It's one of those more modern types that keeps its foliage throughout the year, acts basically as a perennial, will not self-seed either. It's a sterile variety, quite easily divided though. So you can definitely get a lot of plants by only purchasing a couple, right? If you have the patience. Oh, there's some noise going on in the background, but let's see if that disappears, right? Oh, and also a really nice plant in there. Yeah, a couple of nice plants in there, but the loosestrife. Yeah, the purple loosestrife in here. Loosestrife, not invasive here where I live, so I can have as many loosestrifes as I want. I believe this is, or I know that this is drop more purple, and it is a really, really nice looking loosestrife. I believe that one is what you could call semi-sterile. I believe that one might require another loosestrife to pollinate it if it was to set seed. I have never seen it. I've never seen any seeds of it germinate. So yeah, but I'm not sure if it's fully sterile though. But nice looking loosestrife. I'd say the positive thing about if it was fully sterile, then people where it would be invasive could have it as well, right? But yeah, no guarantees from my end. Let's put it like that. Yeah, put in some research, I'd say. Yeah, that is. It's actually. Oh, I need to look out when I back up, right? Could be an instant YouTube hit otherwise, right? Just look at that border. That is actually, if I just pan over that, that is not a bad looking border, right? Let's just go through what I have in there. A yellow / orangey daylily looking really great. I did go over the use of yellows in my last video, so I'm gonna spare you, right? A rose, Silas Mana, I don't know if I am pronouncing that correctly. It's a David Austin rose and it is looking great. A thalictrum that has toppled over. Yeah, that one just due to all of the rain here and it only having one single stem. My guess is that that is going to have broken over right on the support. Yeah, and it has. And that is, we had a lot of wind, but also due to the wet, they did get sort of enormous this year, put on so much growth, right? I also put some new plants in there. I removed a daylily. I added in Iris siberica. I believe it will look really great here with its almost grass-like foliage. You could say that the daylilies sort of have the same effect here, but I still think that the leaf is just a little bit different. And of course the flowers are totally different. In the background in here where I had, unfortunately I had to take out the obedient plant that was in there because it was spreading quite a lot. I added in what's it called, geranium in there in the back. It's a double and also that same loose stripe, drop more purple again. Oh yeah, and the wildflower in there. Are those called? I don't know if those are called margarets in English. I believe they aren't. Are they called daisies instead? Yeah, you can't translate Danish directly, right? Some of our words are sort of the same though as English, but yeah. Oh, and I almost forgot, I have a rose in there. That's a newly planted this year, and that will become really tall. And I probably need to put in some supports for that next year. Yeah. And yeah, let's just continue down the path, right? Hopefully I don't get too much sun in the camera, but let's see. And yeah, here I believe one of the things that I did right here is that you can look into this corner, right? You can sort of, yeah, let's just come from down here instead, just so that you can get a full view of this. So you come walking down here and you can sort of see right into that corner. I believe that corner is actually, I believe that is quite nice. Also the shrub in there will become taller, and yeah, I think that's a great looking corner again with the daylilies in front. Also, again, I am using Geranium Roseanne for continued interest throughout the year. Also, what's it called? Lavendelturm, Veronicastrum, Lavendelturm. That was, yeah, I couldn't remember, but Veronicastrum Lavendelturm, and that is a bee magnet. I don't know if you can see that in there, but there are quite a lot of bees in there. The bees also like Roseanne. Yeah, you can basically see one right down there, right? And they basically traverse these flowers all day long. Nice thing about this Roseanne is it will always start over from the same spot next year. It will become very large, very large, but it will always start from the same spot next year. It will never fasten anything to the ground. It won't shoot from the stem basically. It will start over. Also, it's sterile, won't set seeds, won't spread via seeds. In that way, it is very well behaved, but it becomes very tall, has a tendency to crawl up and over plants. So that's where it's a bit thuggish though, right? So yeah. Also a plant that sort of divides people a bit, lambsia. Some like it, some don't. I like it. Oh, there are some children playing in the background, but yeah, they aren't mine, so not my problem unless some accident happens, right? And they still sound quite happy. So let's just continue along the way, right? Back to the lambs here. Yeah, looking great. I like lambs here. They tend to topple a bit, and that is the annoying part. The good part though is that this plant, we don't have that many butterflies this year yet, but this plant, normally it would be covered in butterflies right now. Right now it's only the bees, but the butterflies sort of add that extra effect, right? Yeah, let's continue along the way. Again, oh yeah, I did plant up this in here. Again, you can see I tend to use geraniums a lot. I really like the way that they look and that they flower for such a long time. Those modern geranium varieties, they really just keep going, right? This corner will become better over time. That in there is newly planted up. I put in some Veronicastrums. What did I remember? I put in some extra plants. Oh yeah, I put in some red valerians as well, thinking they'll do well in there. And let's see. Oh, and I moved a digitalis in there, hoping that it will seed. Let's see how that looks next year. I believe that's going to be great. I had a shrub in there that took heavy winter damage, so I removed it, and I decided to replace it with perennials instead. Oh, and a tree. Yeah, there's There's what are they called, crab apple in there. Yeah, and that tree is going to be moved. Just mentioned that in my last video as well. Backing up a bit. Yeah, just starting on the very beginning of its flowering. This is hydrangea limelight. Yeah, it's one of those American varieties. They don't require a lot of water, they don't freeze to the ground. They are just a fantastic variety of geranium, if you ask me. I've had issues. I actually like the mop heads as well. I don't have a single one anymore. Removed my last mop head just a couple of days ago. They freeze to the ground here. They never make it with their foliage or rather stems intact throughout winter. But these hydrangeas, they call them pinnas, right? Hydrangea pinaculata is hard to say, so hence pinna. And they are just fantastic plants for the climate that I have here. Looking really stunning. I believe that hydrangea limelight, in my opinion, is one of the best. It becomes quite large though. That's perhaps the only minus, but look at that. And with that elder purple lace in the background, that's not too bad, right? Yeah, also, and I am going to remove some of this border in the middle. I'm gonna establish a very small lawn up here between the benches. Let's see how that turns out. I have a place where I'm gonna move these plants, so don't cry for them. They will be taken care of. Nice looking daylily, right? How wonderful is that? Only thing is, when you have something with that strong a color, it's sort of going to attract the eye, right? Your eye is going to move to it. So I would not have too many of those. But as you can see, I mostly deal in pinks and blues. So having a stunner here and there, I think is fine. Garden designers might disagree, right? Yeah, I did mow the grass this day. I sort of broke a little bit on that one. But just look at that. It's almost shimmering in the sun. I don't know if the camera picks that up, but that is a really nice looking daylily. And only 4 buds remain, so I'm not gonna stake it. But it's a nice looking plant. Yeah, let's look at this border. What do I have in there? First and foremost, almost coming up on the end of its flowering season, at least in this spot, is Nepeta Walker Slow. I will, when that has almost stopped flowering, I'm gonna trim it back a little bit. And that will then reshoot and reflower. So that is going to look great again, basically. Yeah, make this garden great again, right? You do that by trimming back those plants that can reshoot. Yeah, in there. Again, of course, geranium roseanne. Almost no need to mention that. Thalictrum. Yeah, again, Thalictrum just looking great, right? And on a background of elder purple lace. Or is it black lace? I can't remember, but purple lace or black lace, that's the elder in the background. And a Thalictrum. And again, oh, some of it is actually outside of the support. I believe the wind came from that direction. So I believe that one got lucky, right? Yeah, I have Thalictrums planted throughout these borders as well. Their time to shine is just beginning at this time of year. Also, another plant in there that I need to trim back a bit is the red valerian. I have that in many places here in the garden. I believe I originally only purchased 3, and it seeds around quite happily, and they're easy to pull up if you don't want them where they seed. So easy plant. And again, I am going to trim that back, something like this. Instead of having it seed all over, I'm gonna trim it back a bit to down here. You can sort of see where it's putting on new growth already, right? And I'm gonna simply cut it down all the way to there, and it's gonna reshoot, and hence it's gonna reflower as well. Not all plants support that. Also here, what is the species name? Can't remember. Specific name is Magnus. This one a bit pale compared to the species. This one down here is a better representative, right? They seed around. They actually seed around right here, and hence some of them might come up a little bit different. Some of it might also just be due to that weather, that we've had so much rain. So perhaps it will, when it comes, you can see these are only just unfolding. So perhaps it will gain more color as the flower matures, right? These you can also deadhead when this one has stopped flowering. Just take it back a little bit. You can sort of see where the new flowers are coming already, right? Just take it back to that spot. Or above if you like, depending on what you like. But I'd say go for the lower cutting point when this one has stopped flowering. Unless you want them to seed around. Of course, if you remove the spent flower heads, you aren't gonna get any mature seeds out of them. But quite a lot of plants actually support being cut back and hence reflower. Some don't, but most do. Iris siberica, for example, doesn't. You are not gonna get a lot out of removing these spent stems, other than sort of cleaning the plant up a bit. In there, quite a hole in there. That's where I removed the mophead hydrangea that I mentioned, and a couple of hydrangeas. And I've made the room for that loosestrife that I mentioned earlier, drop more purple. I'm gonna put a couple in there. And if they thrive in there, they need like half shade to full sun. Hopefully they're gonna do okay in there, but let's see. And I will be able to see them from over here if they thrive. Yeah, let's just... I often sort of look too much into the foliage, right? Let's just sort of pan over it. That's not looking half bad, right? And down here, of course, I am going to keep that middle border. So that border right here that I already showed you some of, I'm going to keep. I am only going to move the plants that are right up here. And let's see how much I remove. But I want just a bit of lawn again. Oh yeah, and forgot to mention the path that we're walking on, this grass path right here, it's 2 meters wide. Yeah, it's sort of hard to tell when there aren't any people in front of the camera, but the path is actually quite wide and you can easily pass by each other if you walk here. Oh, I can hear the bees. Yeah, these geraniums, the bees, they really like them. When it comes to the daylilies, I've actually seen quite a lot of hoverflies around them. Not those right now, but quite often it seems that the hoverflies are actually going in for the daylilies. And I like having hoverflies here in the garden because they will take care of aphids. Yeah. Daylily entwined in the vine. That is a really, really nice looking daylily. I mowed the grass earlier and I broke it a bit, but just look at that. And almost as large as my hand. And when those are in full flower and haven't been eaten by snails, unfortunately some of the buds on this one has been touched by snails. But other than that, when it really matures, and a usual summer we don't have that many snails. It's due to the wet. Oh, and my phone is actually telling me that it is running low on battery, so sort of a way of telling me that I need to hurry up a little bit, right? Yeah. This is the other border again, looking great. And again, these Veronicastrums, they are just bee magnets as well. Don't know if you can see them due to the resolution in here, but those are bee magnets. The same goes for the red valerian and for the geraniums. Only thing that isn't that bee friendly is really the daylilies in here. Those are not. Also the Baltic parsley coming up on the end of its flowering. And yeah, there's a beetle in there. We don't have any Japanese beetles here yet, luckily, and I don't hope we get them. That is some sort of a native instead. Phlox, yeah, give that a couple of days, right? That's gonna be a really nice phlox. Let's just move along due to that battery. Rose, Emily Bronte. That is a nice looking rose, right? In just a couple of weeks, I believe it's going to have its main flowering. That is an early flower down there. And over here on the other side, Rose, Lady of Shalott. It's also a nice looking rose, right? Also, its main flowering, 2 to 3 weeks is a guess. It has started flowering, and I trimmed a couple of the stems back because it got too tall shoots that didn't have any what would you call it, woody structure to them basically, so they would topple over. So I trimmed it back a little bit, and hoping that we would get a bit of a drier period on, but we didn't. So that was for nothing, right? But let's see how this summer, how it goes along, right? Again, couple of daylilies. Yeah. That is a nice one, right? And that is also a nice one. Thing about daylilies, just remember, if they're too similar in flower, don't plant them next to each other. One of them is always going to look like it's a little bit on the ugly side if you do. Oh yeah, and here I have a garden project here. I'm going to make this path longer, but I've gone over that in other videos. So let's just ignore that for now. Again, a pinna. This is Pinky Winky. Just about to flower. Starts as white, will turn pink with its flowers. And that is a really nice one. And let's enjoy that right now, because I'm going to move that to there. That's probably gonna take a hit, right? These pinnas, normally their roots don't go that deep. So hopefully I'll be able to move that without too many complications, but let's see. Oh, and I almost always forget, let's get an overview back here. Let's just pan around again. Yeah, my house is over there. Porch project will start in a couple of years, I guess, but let's see. And the rest of the garden. Yeah, and that's where we came from, right? Variegated tulip tree. That is also a stunner. I like it. I like that tree. Yeah. Garden project over there, but yeah, depending on if you follow the channel, I haven't really done a lot to that. Do like and subscribe if you made it all the way to the end. I can see the battery has definitely made its way to the end. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.